All right, let's go ahead and get started. So again, welcome everyone. My name is Haley Hunt. I'm a product manager here at ViewSonic. Today we're going to be covering Manager. So if you're unfamiliar with Manager, this is going to be a great introduction. And hopefully if you've already are familiar with Manager, this is going to be a great refresher. I'm also going to be talking about a few of the updates that just was released in our June update. Let's take a look about what we're going to do for the rest of this webinar here. So we're going to do an introduction to ViewSonic Manager. Now, this is our complimentary version, and then I'm going to talk about what it takes to upgrade to ViewSonic Manager Advanced. Now, this is the subscription-based platform. It's everything that you get in the complimentary version, just with a few more details that are intended to enhance the overall user experience. Then I'm going to go into talking about campus communication. Now, always like to clarify that when I'm talking about campus, this can refer both to educational campuses, but also corporate campuses. Another way that you can talk about it is also in the digital signage realm, but we like to make sure that we are fully transparent when we talk about this because there are many ways that that can be um, defined. So we want to make sure that we make it as clear as possible for all of you today. And finally, but not least, we're going to be talking about how you can use ViewSonic Manager paired with our devices to also help with urgent alerts. So an overview. This is a great overview with some great icons to help you remember what Manager does. So Manager is a remote management console that allows you to have robust features to remotely monitor and control your devices. So all ViewSonic interactive and commercial displays already have Manager pre-downloaded on the device itself. So all it takes is someone to create an account and get started with enrolling the panels. All of this can be done through easy device enrollment. This is great for batch uploads where you are doing a large rollout, sometimes with 20 or more panels. Being able to remotely upload through serial numbers or a nice and easy PIN code on each screen makes the whole effort of updating and putting the panel up and running onto your network very seamless. Besides that, you also have the ability to receive diagnostic information. So this is really great to see the life and health of the panel to make sure that the panel is working as expected. It's also a great place to view if you need to update things like firmware or operating system. If you're experiencing any issues, sometimes those are the best places to go and see. Sometimes it's all it takes is a quick and easy software or firmware update. But again, you can also send basic and simple broadcast alerts and also have more of the security component for managing the devices by doing things such as app management and also preferences on the panel. So again, this is the included free version. I've went ahead and updated this document with 4 of the main features that you get with the complimentary version. As I mentioned before, you can get started with this right away. So we do have something called an entity account at ViewSonic. This is available for schools and organizations with large rollouts or even small ones for small businesses, for example, to begin and have access to this really helpful tool. So the first thing that I already talked about too is the ability to update firmware remotely. So instead of having to go to the panel directly, you're able to send out these firmware updates to multiple panels at once. And beyond that, you have the ability to do basic remote control functions. So instead of having a physical remote with the panel, you can do it from your screen. So you don't have to be on site to do things like power off the screen, restart, change the standby mode, change input. You can even change the volume and brightness as you can see in the screenshot below. All of this is available to make it easy on the IT team to be able to connect with the device and also make changes. We also talked about managing apps as well. So you can do things like send specific applications. Now, these can be ViewSonic applications. They can also be third-party applications that are already approved, or you can upload your own APK directly from the Manager console and send it out to all of the devices. But probably the most used feature for Manager is that power on and off. So this is a really great tool because no longer do you need to rely on someone in your organization to manually turn off a panel. You can do this directly from the console, or you can schedule it in advance with different power on and off schedules. Now, over to the right-hand side, I do have another feature overview with great other features. So as you can see more specifics for that remote control. You also see that we have API integrations. One of the things that we like to do is make sure that we are interacting with the places that your end users are looking for. So if they're already using some type of software or other device, they're able to connect those APIs together directly into Manager for an overall seamless encounter. So all of this is available in Manager, and a great way to be able to send all these commands is through device grouping. So you can send a command to a single device, or you can create separate groups and send the commands to an entire group in one building or even across an entire campus. In our latest release, we also introduced subgroups. So now, before, you would only have one group to manage. This could be a great way for schools, let's say a school district, for example, to separate per school. But if that school also wanted to break down per classrooms, at that point, it would become a little bit more cumbersome. So the subgroups is intended to make this even more easy on those users who are managing the devices remotely by creating subgroups. So now you have up to 3 levels. So for instance, you could have a school district. The next level could be a specific school. And then in that school, you could have separate classrooms where these devices are installed. So the options are really endless on how you want to organize. We provide a lot of flexibility for our end users to be able to send out the devices how they want. This is also especially helpful if you are working in a corporate environment. Let's say the HR department wants to send an update to all of the users about a reminder that lunch is in the quad. However, you probably don't want to accidentally send a message to that important executive meeting happening in one of the conference rooms. So this allows you to have that peace of mind to make sure that the messages are sent appropriately where they should be. So all of that was the complimentary version. As you can see, there are already great features ready to go for our users. However, we do offer an upgraded experience with Manager Advanced. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So as I mentioned previously, this is all of the great features that are in the complimentary version, but more robust. So this is going to make it even more efficient to manage the devices. So let's take a look at what those specific things would be. The first one that it would be very helpful is job scheduling. So all of those commands that we talked about earlier through remote control can be scheduled ahead of time. So like I mentioned earlier, you could do a schedule startup and shutdown, or you can schedule something like sending out applications, doing a scheduled firmware update over a long weekend, so you're not accidentally interrupting any workflows. There are a lot of endless options here with how you can schedule all of these. You can also send a scheduled profile outwards. So let's look at profiles. Profiles is an excellent way to create preferences on the panel. So previously, if you wanted to configure the preferences and settings on any of the devices, you would have to be in front of the panel, actually in the room with it at the same time, and navigate to the settings menu. This was a little bit improved through USB cloning, where you could go to the panel, go through settings, go to preferences, language, time, wallpaper, whatever it may be, and then you could copy it over to a USB drive. However, you would still take that USB drive one by one to each panel. Now with profiles, you can do all of that without having to be in the same room as the device. And now you can send it out with one easy click to a single device or an entire group like we talked about earlier. So you can send it to all of the devices and you can create custom profiles based on each of those groups. So this is very helpful for the users to make sure that they are doing an easy enrollment, especially in those organizations where they might either have to be hiring outside help to get these panels installed, or even just making sure that their IT team is not overwhelmed with this new technology upgrade. And then an additional very helpful way for our IT teams to be able to remotely monitor the devices is through remote desktop. So again, without needing to be physically within a room where a panel is, you can remote desktop into a panel wherever it may be. As long as it's online, you would be able to access the device and you would see everything that is already on the panel. This can be helpful if you are broadcasting messages to make sure that it is sending the correct message of your choice, or you can also access things like the settings menu. And you can reconfigure if any settings are starting to cause any issues, or if you just need to help troubleshoot with someone on site. So that is a great and helpful tool. Of course, these are some very powerful ways to interact with the devices. So one thing to also be concerned about might be user permissions. Well, we now also have permissions that allow you to group each individual. So before our June update, you would have to go into edit permissions for each individual user in your organization. Now we've upgraded with something very helpful, such as permission groups. So now you can create very specific roles. For instance, let's say the IT team should have full administrative rights to all of the devices that are in the manager platform. They should have access to all the groups, all of the folders for multimedia, such as broadcast, and they also should have access to be able to control the devices however they see fit. Let's say, on the other hand, you have a secretary who has been tasked with just sending out those important messages about lunch in the break room, or even things like changing out a lunch menu. So all of that can be done by making sure that that secretary only has access to the groups in her building, or even with those specific broadcast permissions only. That way, you're not having to worry about someone accidentally sending a firmware update during an important meeting, or even accidentally shutting down the device when it's in use. So this is a great way for you to be able to control the devices. And like I did with the previous version, I did an overview of all of the features that are not included here. We are going to spend a little bit more time talking about the multimedia broadcast here as well. So let's take a look at how you can use our manager to be able to create media content broadcasts with Manager Advanced. So as you can see in the example below, it's very simple and easy to send out a broadcasted message to a single device or a group of devices. You can send out the exact same message to a group if desired. You can also do things like specific duration. So you can send it instantly. If you need to send a basic text-based message, for example, in a school setting, you could have a teacher send a note to the office, or the office could send a note to the specific classroom and say, send Billy to the office. So all that can be sent in an instant. However, you can do specific scheduled events, either one time, daily, or on weekly reoccurrences through Manager. This is really great for news announcements, or even if you're using simple digital signage in the beginning of your office lobby. Beyond that, you can also broadcast with zones. So to see what this means, I've included a short video here. So as you can see from here, there are 3 different zones that you can add content to. Now you can add more than one media type at a time. So you can include an infographic, a video, basic text message. You can do YouTube videos, playlists, or even live streams. All this can be done up to 4 different zones on the screen. The benefit of this is that if you're using a large format display from ViewSonic, you're able to use the entire screen real estate for your messages. A very important note that I will also mention here is that with a past update, you can now also broadcast in portrait mode specifically to our CDE 30 panels. So as you can see from this, you can send it continuously, you can create a custom duration, or you can even forbid a device user from removing that video. So as you can see, there are many different options available, and you have many different ways that you can access this from manager as well. So I also wanted to include a specific example about how you can broadcast web pages. So I've gone ahead and added some very specific types of information based on different verticals. So for example, in education, you could have digital signage for different announcements. You could do event live streams or Google Slides. Now, I've included this component in the web pages because we have a very unique feature within Manager that allows the users to stay in the environment that they feel most comfortable with. And by that, I mean in Google Slides, for example, there's an option to publish those slides to the web. By creating that web URL, you now have a live updating link that you can access in Manager. So in a scheduled broadcast, you could put the Google Slides link and never have to go back into the platform to make sure that those slides are updated. So what that means is the teacher, the secretary, whoever it may be in charge of this digital signage for announcements would be able to go directly to Google Slides and update and edit directly in that platform. And the next time that manager sends a command to perform the broadcast, all of the updates would be shown live. So it's a great and easy way to make sure that it is simple and easy to understand, and also make sure that the users feel comfortable with this type of digital signage example. So now with retail, you can also use it for brand websites. You could do cafe menus, again, if you're broadcasting them through Google Slides, that publish link, or even product information on a product page. Again, with enterprise, a very specific example here is for a live market tracker. And then you can also do traffic for, let's say, airlines, if you want to just have it in your lobby. And you can also put it up for client websites. Now, a great thing to know about these web pages is that while they are live and they are updating, they are not interactive, meaning you do not need to worry about a student, a colleague, or even a guest to accidentally navigate and go to something like Google and put up information that you would not desire. So it is completely locked down, it is safe, and you do not need to worry about anyone interacting with the website. It will continue to remain in the digital signage of your choice. This leads me to urgent alerts. So this is another type of broadcast that is separate from our multimedia messages, but it is a very important and crucial part, and it has become very important to our end users to have this ability. So I have a little bit of background for this. We received multiple messages and requests from our end users to provide a way that their screens could act as a way to receive urgent alerts. Unfortunately, this is a very important topic that is crucial in many spaces. And so what we've went ahead and done is that we have integrated with third-party mass notification partners. For example, SingleWire's Informacast. The reason why we've decided to partner is that we know that our partners are industry experts, and they have dedicated their entire time and business to making sure that these alerts are sent appropriately and on time. So the way that we do this is through our open API, specifically using something called CAP messaging, or Common Alerting Protocol if you're unfamiliar. All you need to know about this is that it's a standard in the industry, and it's a specific message format that allows us to partner with these mass notification companies to receive these alerts as an endpoint on our panel. So this is available on the complimentary version already out of the box. The importance of this is that it allows you to strengthen safety standards, increases visibility of these important alerts, and keeps everyone informed. To look at this just a little bit more, in many organizations, they are required to do specific drills. So fire drills here in California, we have earthquake preparedness drills as well. Many times that these are required to complete accreditation. This is an important step to make sure that the organizations who are responsible for the health and well-being of the users and people within their offices are made sure that they are prepared for any type of event. So this here, CAP messaging, will allow you to send messages directly to the panels. Considering our panels start at 55-inch and go up to even 110 inches now, that is a lot of screen real estate to be able to provide step-by-step information, which could be very crucial in an event such as a fire drill, where maybe you have guests in your building who don't know what the exit plan looks like. You can provide those step-by-step details and be able to choose where the messages are sent. So similar to what we discussed earlier, you would be able to send it to a single device that's affected, or an entire group, or just all the devices in your network. This is great to make sure that everyone is informed. You can have pre-made templates ready to go for these drills, or you can also have them hooked up with specific hardware such as fire alarms, door alarms, or even panic buttons. Once those are triggered, a message will be sent to the panel, and it just provides greater visibility for all of those involved. This is something that we find very important, and we want to make sure that all of our users are aware of how to use it. So something that I would like to share with all of you are our current partners. So as I mentioned, we are partnering with Single Wires and Formacast, Crisis Go, Alertus, and Raptor Technologies. A very important note is that because we create our own software and because we have this open API protocol with CAP messaging, we are able to partner with any type of mass notification company that is also using CAP messaging. So this allows us to work with users who are using a different provider that we aren't currently partnered with. As long as we have their contact, we can begin that one-time backend integration and be able to provide this as an additional solution for their group. So as you can see, there are many other players in the space, and we are working very often to contact those users and allow us to create a partnership with them so we can provide greater coverage. So that is the urgent alerts. And I will leave just this chart so you can see an example of what you get with upgrading to Manager Advanced. So like we mentioned, Manager is a great tool for remotely monitoring and controlling the devices. But when you upgrade to Manager Advanced, you now have the ability to have that finer control of the displays, allows you to have greater permission and security controls of the panels, of who's using them, what content is being prepared on them, and also allows you to increase your campus communication and also your digital signage as well. So this is a great overview. If you want more information, this is available on our website currently right now. So if you go to viewsonic.com, there is a specific manager section with this exact chart here. A couple other things that I want to leave you with are our resources. So at ViewSonic, we are committed to making sure that the users are able to understand how we can best support them and make sure that they're using the technology the best that they can. So we do have a YouTube channel. We provide tutorials and ways to troubleshoot directly on that YouTube channel. But if they want more of a peer-to-peer connection, they can access our educator community. Now, this educator community is more specifically for our education vertical. However, it is not specifically tied to only teachers. It can also be IT administrators and other peers that are working in the education space. It allows them to have conversations, find out best practices, and have access to our specific webinars that we are also offering. Lastly, one of our other SKUs that you may also be familiar with right now is that we do offer professional development as something that can be added on to any point of sale. So this is going to be on-site training that will be customized specifically to the organization's needs. So this is going to include specific hours that may be needed. The on-site training is very helpful, and we really do get good feedback about this. So if you ever need testimonials, those are also posted on our website. So I will leave this with you. You can go ahead and watch now on the YouTube videos if you want to get yourself refreshed on all of this information. You can access our educator community, and you can contact us for more information about professional development. So with that, I want to say thank you very much. My name was Haley Hunt, and I have been the product manager here at ViewSonic for the last few years. One of the things that we always like to do is that if you have direct feedback about our product or even just specific questions about a use case, please feel free to reach out. We would love to be able to talk to you one-on-one, get your feedback directly with any of these requests. So thank you all so much for joining. If you have any questions, please feel free to let us know. And I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much.